the north. Then the Lord said unto me, Out of the north, and evil shall break forth upon all the inhabitants of the land. For lo, I will call all the families of the kingdoms, that's principalities of the north, saith the Lord, and they shall come, and they shall set every one his throne at the entering in of the gates, and against all the walls thereof round about, and against all the cities of Judah. Jeremiah had a ton of stuff to say about this. Jeremiah 4:6, Set up the standard toward Zion, retire, stay not, for I will bring evil from the north and a great destruction. Jeremiah 6:1, For evil appeareth out of the north and great destruction. Jeremiah 6:22, A great nation, a people cometh from the north country, from the and stop right here. The north country. There is no land up at the North Pole. That doesn't exist. What country are they talking about? Could it be they're talking about the Canadians, eh? Those fierce hosers that are going to come down and destroy America? Nah, I'm friends with a lot of you Canadians. I love you guys, okay? I'm not really afraid of you, okay? The North Country, not Canada. I don't think it's Russia or Siberia. I think it's a nation that lives in the north. That's what I think. Jeremiah 6:22, Behold, a people cometh from the north country, and a great nation shall be raised from the sides of the earth. Jeremiah 46:20, Egypt is like a very fair heifer, but destruction cometh, it cometh out of the north. Jeremiah 46:24, The daughter of Egypt shall be confounded, she shall be delivered into the hand of the people of the north. The people of the north. Jeremiah 47:2, Behold, waters rise up out of the north, and shall be an overflowing flood, and shall overflow the land and all that is therein, the city and them that dwell therein. Then the men shall cry, and all the inhabitants of the land shall howl. Stop right here. Look at this. The waters are going to rise out of the north, and shall be an overflowing flood, and shall overflow the land and all that therein is. Now, we're being told by Al Gore and all the environmentalists that if we don't stop turning our cars on every morning and spraying aerosol paint, if we don't stop doing that, then it's going to create a global effect, and the Earth's going to warm up, the polar ice caps are going to melt, and it's going to flood everybody. Whatever. I think there's a different flood coming. Remember what the symbol of the age of Aquarius is. Pouring out water. 2 water waves. 2 rivers, actually. Think about that. Think about as it was in the days of Noah. What is God going to do? He's going to bring a nation of very evil people as waters out of the north, and they are going to flood the land once again. Think about that. I think the Bible is revealing to us. I think the symbolism of the bear, that's what it represents. Jeremiah 50, verse 3, Out of the north there cometh up a nation against her, which shall make her land desolate. None shall dwell therein. Jeremiah 50, verse 9, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country. They shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken. Their arrows shall be as of mighty expert men. None shall return in vain. Jeremiah 50, 41, Behold, a people shall come from the north, and a great nation and many kings shall be raised up from the coasts of the earth. That means outside of the land masses. Coming up out of the seas, the North Pole, where there is no land. It's all sea. Now, it's frozen sea. I got a verse I want to show you. Okay? Hang on to it. In the tabernacle, Exodus 26:35, in the tabernacle they put the table of showbread. It was specifically said, you got to put this on the north. And thou shalt set the table without the veil, and the candlestick over against the table on the side of the tabernacle toward the south, and thou shalt put the table on the north side. Why? Because every day there was a table there, and the priest would bring 12 fresh-baked loaves of bread, hot bread. And of course I believe this was unleavened bread, so it would be like pitas or tortillas or whatever. Even at that, they're better hot than they are cold. Fresh bread every day, 12 of them. And Jesus said, I'm that bread. And the priest got to eat from that bread. So here's what God did. He prepared a table for His people. Where? In the north. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Isn't that beautiful? Here it is, God preparing a table for His people. The presence, in the north side, presence of His enemies, where the dragon and the bear are ranging. They're always going around, walking about, to and fro, to and fro. Every day, they're ranging and walking around and looking. And God says, have a seat right here. But Lord, I'm afraid. Don't worry about it. I want to show them that I will feed you in no fear right in front of them. And they can't do a thing about it. You see, I'm just trying to tell you, if you get on God's side, you won't have to hide from the New World Order. You won't have to have a bug-out bag. You won't have to have these things. God will prepare a table before you in the presence of your enemies. He'll take good care of you. I promise you He will. So we have the dragon and the bear up in the north. We have Polaris, the North Star. That's the guiding star, the navigation star. That sailors, because it was in a fixed spot, they always knew where north was, because at night they would go out and look at Polaris. Now there's something about all this that I want you to see, because there has been a religious idea that is based upon the idea of a bear being up in the north. All right? This bear and what it symbolizes. And it has 3 ribs, and it devours much flesh. It's very hungry, so God's going to let it feed on whatever it wants to feed. Adolf Hitler was, when you look into the mystical aspect of Hitler, he was governed and led by a principality. He was part of, or some say that he was actually being guided by, a group of occultists called the Thule Society, Thule. Now, I had heard that for years, and I had talked about it, and I thought, where did they get this name from? What is Thule? Well, Thule, in German mythology, is a land, it's known in other places as Hyperborea. Look, here is, let me show you their symbol. This is where Hitler gets the swastika. Notice that it has 4, it's like a cross, and it has 4 legs on it. And those legs are pointing in opposites, sort of like this, okay? North, south, east, and west. So it represents the 4th kingdom. That's what the swastika does. It represents 4th kingdom. And it represents Thule, or Hyperborea. Hyperborea was this, the Nazi occultists believed in this historical nation or city, which was the origin of the Aryan race. The Aryan race is that pure-blooded, blonde-haired, blue-eyed. Hitler was breeding people. He was finding all the guys that were blonde-haired and blue-eyed, all the gals that were blonde-haired and blue-eyed. He would bring them into what amounted to these breeding centers, and he would say, here, you go in with her, you go in with her, pop out a bunch of kids, because I want these kids. Hitler owned these kids. They were Hitler's boys and girls. They were intended to be raised up a generation of superior people. Here's what's funny. Hitler was anything but blonde-haired and blue-eyed. There was a spirit behind this, people. But his intention was, because the occultists believed that this superior race of beings existed in the north, like a city, and that superior race was going to take over the earth. Think of the terms used for Joel's army: a new breed of warrior supermen, Ubermensch. We covered this in the Comic-Con series. The Ubermensch, the overmen, the men who are beyond human. They're transhuman. Where did Hitler believe they come from? They came from Thule. They came from Hyperborea. They came from the Arctic land. They were the ones that were going to take over the earth and give Hitler his 1,000-year reign. Makes sense now, doesn't it? So, Hyperborea, Toul, Arcturus, Arctos, is all this idea that up in the north there is, and this is where we're going to get into what some call the hollow earth theory. Now, what is at the center of the earth? Well, I've never been there, although I watched the movie. What is at the center of the earth? The Bible tells us that there is a heart of the earth and that Jesus went there. It is referred to as hell. It is referred to as the pit or the prison or the bottomless pit. It's in the fourth dimension. That's why it doesn't have a bottom. The heart of the earth. It is where Abraham's bosoms, where Abraham was at one time until Christ died and set captivity free. So now they've been freed from that area. There was a gulf between Abraham's bosom and where the rich man was in hell. He was in torments, and Lazarus was in. When you're in somebody's bosom, you're in comfort. Okay, but even though they were down here, and Christ released them to be in paradise with Him, the paradise of the third heaven. That's what Paul said he saw. So there have been people throughout history that have talked about this idea of a hollow earth. Now, before you go say, you flatlander, you. I'm going, not so fast. Not so fast. Although I don't believe scripturally that there's this land flowing with milk and honey down under there, and it has its own sun. And I mean, here's a graphic of it. Okay, the land of advanced races, the city of Shambhala. That there's this underground cloud and an underground heat source and light, an underground sun and an underground ocean, and all these people are going around sniffing daisies and la la la, and they're a superior race. I don't believe that. I do believe that there is a nation down there whose escape route or entrance is in the north. Scripturally, that's what I believe. They even talk about how Admiral Byrd found the entryway to the hollow earth. They talk about satellite pictures that for some reason are missing. You can't actually see the North Pole and all this stuff. I don't know that. I don't know if any of that stuff is true. I don't think I want to even bother with it. What I do believe is that in the heart of the earth, there's a very, very bad nation that's going to be released out of there right now. Think of, there's a story in Job where the 5 Philistine lords, and remember, when the locusts and the scorpions come out of the pit, it's the sounding of the 5th trumpet, and they hurt men for 5 months. So in Joshua chapter 10, you have the 5 kings. One of them's the king of Jerusalem. You have the 5 kings, and they escape the hand of Yeshua, Jesus. They escape the hand of Jesus by going into a cave, and they took stones and rolled over the cave. There's something holding